Hello everyone to Sri Chhatrapati Academy Pune Study Ayush Forum by the students for the students. So, hello to all future doctors first of all. Welcome to the field of treatment. Agenda. Today's our agenda is human physiology from modern perspective. Right? Human physiology. As we all are physicians, so we'll study human physiology, right? So before starting every lecture, I have bring some inspirational quotes or thoughts. So today's arise, awake and stop not until the goal is reached. It is a very beautiful slogan or a very beautiful quote given by Swami Vivekanand. Okay. Arterial pulse. We have done our first part of this chapter in our previous video, arterial pulse part 1. In that we have seen introduction. Today we will see its pathology, clinical pathology. First of all, pulsus alterians. Pulsus alterians is the abnormal condition in which amplitude of every second wave in a pulse tracing is relatively smaller. It is very smaller as compared to previous one. What is the amplitude? Amplitude is this distance is called as amplitude. This and this crest is called as amplitude, right? It is because of the alteration in variation of the force of the ventricular contraction. Why it is? Because there is a alteration, there is some chaos in the contraction of the ventricle. Sometimes ventricle is getting more contracted, sometimes it is getting less contracted. However, the rhythm of the pulse is not altered. Rhythm is same. After first one, second comes, after second, third comes. Rhythm is not. It is contracting, but intensity of contraction is less, right? It is common in severe myocardial diseases like paroxysmal tachycardia and atrial fibrillation. What is meant by atrial fibrillation? Now, atrial fibrillation is the condition in which our aortas cure means they shiver, थरथर का होतो त्या आर्टरियांचा आपल्या, आणि त्याच्यामुळे काय होतं, देयर इज अ इरेग्युलर इन द बॅलन्स ऑफ द वेव्स, प्रेशर इम्बॅलन्स होतो आणि त्यावेळी पॅथॉलॉजिकल कंडिशन जनरेट होते. Paroxysmal tachycardia. What is meant by paroxysmal tachycardia? We all know what is meant by tachycardia. Low heart. There is an increase in the heart rate. There is increase in the heart rate. So what is paroxysmal tachycardia? The tachycardia in which means the heart rate in which there is a sudden increase and sudden decrease in the pressure waves. Imagine yourself, तुम्ही एका बंद खोलीमध्ये आहात आणि तुमच्यावर डायरेक्ट खूप प्रेशर टाकला एकदा आणि लगेच अचानक सगळा प्रेशर खालून टाकला. तुमची काय कंडिशन होईल तीच कंडिशन हार्टची होते in the case of paroxysmal tachycardia. It's next. And aortic pulse. An aortic pulse is the abnormal pulse characterized by slow ascending limb. Okay, slow ascending limb which has a notch called anacrotic notch. Slow, it's very slow. Hallu jata, and it has anacrotic notch. And it is produced in aortic stenosis. And what is meant by aortic stenosis? Aortic stenosis is a pathological conditions in which your valves, our heart has valves, bicuspid valve, tricuspid valve, eustachian valves and semilunar valves, right? In that valves, what happens is they are very incomplete or they do not close properly or do not open properly. In that condition, some pathology is generated, right? So that condition is called as aortic stenosis, or when the ejection of the blood is low. And why it is low? Because of not opening and closing, not pressure is not maintained due to the valves. Okay, abnormal valves. Now 3D pulse. 3D pulse or weak pulse is the abnormal pulse in which the volume of pulse become very feeble. Feeble means very low. It's very low and it is hardly felt. It is not felt at the peripheral arteries or where that points, femoral artery or radial artery, right? It usually occurs whenever the stroke volume decreases or when there is a severe vasoconstriction. Now, when you read this line, you might have a doubt that how it's possible. When there is vasoconstriction means narrowing of the blood vessels, right? Narrowing of the blood vessels means there might be increase in the pressure, more wave, more pulse rate should be felt, right? Everyone might getting this, but no, our human body doesn't do this. What happens is when there is the more load on the arteries, there is one term called as systemic ventricular resistance, SVR. This is a new term. A good physician always note the new term, right? So what is this? What happens is when arteria contracts and push the blood, there is some resistance in it. This resistance is called as afterload or systemic ventricular resistance. After overcoming this resistance, only the blood is transferred to the aorta. But in the case when there is a vasoconstriction, in that place there is a more pressure, and that pressure is also felt here. So resistance is increased, and hence ventricle cannot contract properly, and hence there is a low heart rate. Clear? It's very important pathological term, and if you want to become a good physician, a good vaidya, you have to note it down. It's very interesting topic in a form of cardiology, right? And in the case of severe hemorrhage also, there is a excessive blood loss. Excessive blood loss means there is no blood, and no blood, then ventricle will not contract, hence 3D pulse. Or in severe chills means here again comes the action of metabolism. Chills means there is no temperature means no metabolic reactions. No metabolic reactions means heart has to not work more, so hence in that case 3D pulse is observed. The sympathetic activity increases enormously, leading to the generation of vasoconstriction. And how vasoconstriction is generated? With the help of sympathetic nervous system. There are two types of nervous system. We have already learned sympathetic, parasympathetic. Sympathetic nervous system is fight and flight response, and parasympathetic is rest and digest response. How to remember is, I have remembered para means love. It's very para. So para means it's doing rest, so rest and digest, and sympathetic is flight and flight response. If you like this mnemonic, like, share and subscribe our channel. Now next one is pulsus paradox. It's the condition when the pulse become very strong and very weak alternately. Here it's very strong and it's very weak, very strong, very weak alternately in relation to respiratory cycle. Now it is related with respiratory cycle. Pulsus paradox is a pathological condition with respect to our respiratory cycle. Normally there is a slight increase in the volume of pulse during inspiration and slight decrease in volume during expiration, but it is hardly noticed. It's not always noticed, it's very rarely noticed, right? However, but when it becomes more prominent, ज्यावेळी ही गोष्ट खूप जास्त वेळ ऑब्झर्व होते, त्यावेळी काहीतरी गडबड आहे. So it is pathological at that time. This type of pulse is noticed in cardiac tamponade. Now what is meant by cardiac tamponade? Cardiac tamponade is a pathological condition in which a fluid filled sac gathers around your lung. So lungs capacity means lung capacity to contract. How much is how much is heart's capacity to contract is not coming. विचार करा ना, तुम्हाला जर समजा तुम्ही नाचत असाल आणि तुम्हाला पोत्यात गुंडाळलं, then you can dance properly. At same time, at same way, when there is a pulse around the heart cannot work properly, not work efficiently. So this condition is called as cardiac tamponade. It is also noticed in physiological conditions such as deep breathing. ही physiological condition मध्ये पण ऑब्झर्व केली जाते. छातीवर हात ठेवा सगळ्यांनी. दीर्घ श्वास घ्यायचा, श्वास रोखून धरायचा. तुम्हाला तुमची पल्स रेट किंवा हार्ट रेट वाढलेला जाणवतो. इट इज अ फिजिओलॉजिकल कंडिशन ऑल्सो, राईट? म्हणजे दरवेळीच पल्सस पॅराडॉक्स, आता हा मला पल्सस पॅराडॉक्स झालाय असा होत नाही. समटाइम्स इट इज फिजिओलॉजिकल टू, राईट? नाउ द सिक्स्थ वन इज वॉटर हॅमर पल्स, राईट? Water hammer pulse is an abnormal pulse characterized by rapid upstroke and equally rapid downstroke. Rapid upstroke, rapid downstroke, rapid upstroke, rapid downstroke. Okay, it is also called as collapsing or cohesion pulse. Cohesionचा meaning असतं sudden, अचानक. It is seen in a condition like aortic regurgitation. Aortic regurgitation means black flow. Regurgitationचा अर्थ आहे black flow. बॅक फ्लो केव्हा होतो, त्यावेळी तुमचे वाल्व सेम्युलर वाल्व्स नीट नसतात, त्यावेळी ॲरोटापासून परत वेंट्रिकल मध्ये तुमचं ब्लड फ्लो येतं. ओके, पेटंट डक्टस आर्टेरियोसिस इज अ pathological condition. We will further study it. Arteriovenous fistula. What is arteriovenous fistula? This is arteriovenous fistula. What happens is there is a direct connection between artery and your vein. So we all know there are the pressure differences. There is a different pressure in artery, different pressure in the veins, right? Usually how the connection is? Connections is from artery to the capillaries and from capillaries to the vein. But here directly connection is directly, there is a fistula between arteries and veins. So it is pathological. So much difference in your pressure waves, so much difference in your pulse rate, heart rate. So this condition is too pathological. Okay, it is best felt by raising the arm of the subject and holding it by grasping the wrist with the palm of the observer. This you will learn in your clinical exposure. When you have like this condition, you have to raise the hand of the subject and the observer should hold the wrist of the patient with his palm. Then you can understand. How you can understand? There is a pistol shot like action sound happens in the water hammer pulse. Now there are two types of water hammer pulse, which is aortic regurgitation and patent ductus arteriosus. What happens into all very nicely wrote here. You can make notes of this, but I will explain you in short term. Okay, now what is patent ductus arteriosus? Ductus arteriosus is a condition found in fetus. What happens during the fetal life? Lungs are not functioning during fetal life. How the oxygen is getting to the fetus? With the help of placenta. Okay, dissolved oxygen in the mother's blood is directly transferred to the fetus with the help of barrier, which is known as placenta. So how it become functioning right after the birth? How much the fetus, means the newborn, is crying, that much is its lung capacity, right? We say like that, doctors say like that. So in the condition of patent ductus arteriosus, what happens is, ductus arteriosus condition in which the aorta, this is aorta and pulmonary artery, there is a connection between these two. They are joined, right? They are joined. And what happens there? What happens? The blood from the pulmonary artery mixes with aorta and aorta mixes with pulmonary artery. There is a mixing of the blood, right? So there will be mixing of the blood, the pressures also, right? So what happens in patent ductus arteriosus? This same condition happens further also, after the birth also. After the birth, usually this is closed. Okay, but in some condition it is not closed. So this condition is pathological and this condition is called as patent ductus arteriosus. Now aortic regurgitation, it is same phenomenon, same pathology, but conditions are different as that of patent ductus arteriosus. Aortic regurgitation is a condition in which there is a backflow of the blood from aorta to your ventricle due to incompleteness or not opening and closing proper rhythm of your valves. So only one difference you can see in both the condition is that in sometimes in aortic regurgitation the notch is only absent because the valves are not closing and opening at all. So in that condition we will directly get like this. There will no notch formation, and so it is pathological condition, right? There is one more thing which is pulsus deficit, which is not mentioned here, but I will tell you in a short. What is meant by pulses deficit? It is also pathological condition in which heart rate and pulse rate is less than the heart rate. Now it happens due to reduced stroke volume. You know what is meant by stroke volume? We have learned in our previous classes, right? That it is amount of the blood pumped by the each ventricle during the cardiac cycle and all, you know. So stroke volume reduces. So in that condition, what happens? Before reaching to the peripheral artery, pulse disappears. So in that condition only, heart rate is more than pulse rate. Only in the condition of pulses deficit. Usually they are approximately equal. So my dear friends, today we have completed our pathological part of the atrial pulse. If you like this video, comment down, like, share and subscribe. Till that, study well, clear your doubts. Thank you.